What's up, treasure hunters? So today I wanted to go over some pros and cons of buying through online auctions, especially when you're buying from lesser known or smaller auction houses. I also wanted to show you some of the items that I purchased from auctions in the last couple months, one of which I already sold for a really nice profit. So if you want to see both my good and my bad purchases, as well as what I sold and how much profit I made, stay tuned. Okay, so let's get into some of the pros. And in these pros and cons, I'm going to be focusing more on buying from smaller auction houses as compared to, some of the larger auction houses out there like Christie's or Sotheby's. And the first thing is the ability to find hidden gems. So the smaller auction houses obviously work at a smaller scale. They have less employees. They might have, some general specialists, but the larger auction houses are going to have, people that have studied different specialties and that are reviewing items. So everything's going to be correctly identified. Everything is going to have a lot of information about the artist. That's going to really eliminate the chance of finding something special that might be labeled unknown or unknown artist. They might list a painting, for example, that is signed by the artist, but they haven't identified who the artist is. And if you can go in, and I've done this a couple times already in the last, 3 or 4 months, they'll show a picture of the work and get more detailed within the pictures and obviously show a picture of the signature. And if you can do some deciphering and legwork on your end, you might be able to take that signature and find the artist. And since it's not known to any other bidders that are interested, it might create some arbitrage between what you pay for the item and how much you could sell it for. Another pro I would say would be there's less bidding. Obviously, those major auction houses work worldwide, so there are going to be collectors and people all over the world bidding on certain items. So there's going to be a lot of bidding back and forth. Prices, tend to go up, especially with people that are buying for their collection. If they have a lot of money and money is no object, they're just looking to add to their art collection or sculpture collection from a certain artist or whatever it might be. They're going to keep bidding up the item until they win it. And, it's not a good environment for somebody just looking to resell. On the smaller auction houses or auction websites, they do business a lot more regionally. Some don't even ship items out. You actually have to physically go to either the house where the estate sale is happening or, their place of business or warehouse or whatever and physically pick the items up. This can create this makes it so there's a lot less bidding because only people in that area are bidding if they're not shipping or they're just less marketed and less well known. So that creates a chance to also keep the prices lower. And that kind of goes right into my next pro, which is that items tend not to be overbid on or go overpriced. They generally stay around the estimate that the auction house has given it. And a lot of times they even stay under that estimate. So that can create some opportunity for someone looking to resell. So the idea here is you can buy an item for less than the market value. And once you get it, post it on a marketplace or on eBay at a fixed cost. And it might take a little longer to sell, but then, you can make up that profit and that value through that item. And then the last thing is working with these smaller auction houses. Obviously, they charge less fees because of just the pure volume that people are looking at the items and their reputation and everything else. So a lot of times you pay less fees, although it's not, an absorbent amount or anything, but you do tend to pay less fees. I don't know the exact fee structure off the top of my head, and I definitely don't know because I've never sold on Christie's or Sotheby's, but I don't know, what their seller fees are, their commission per sale, but the more traffic coming through and the buyer personas that are buying from that auction house are going to kind of dictate how much that they can charge a seller for selling an item. So now let's get into some of the cons in buying from online auctions in general. And the one is obvious, and it's you physically can't see the item that you're purchasing. You have to go off of what the auction house has written about the item for sale, and then you also have to go off of the photos that they've taken. So, all the major online auction houses like Sotheby's and Christie's are going to take very professional photos. They have the experts to accurately describe what the item is, put a, general date range on the item. They'll accurately describe the description, take, paintings out of frames and all of that. They go, the full 9 yards on posting these things. Whereas smaller auction houses are going to, they're not always going to do all of that work when posting items because they don't have the staff to do it. So they might not be taking artwork out of frames, or they might not know exactly, what a painting was done with, or even if it's a painting at all. That's happened to me before where I purchased, which was said to be an original watercolor painting by an artist. I only paid like $30 for it, but it was a really good deal. And then when I took it to another auction house to sell, more higher end auction house, it ended up being, when they took it out of the frame, ended up being just a poster. And it was very well printed, but it was still just a poster. So it was basically worthless. And I could possibly go back and contact the auction house, but it's just not really worth it. They have different clauses in their terms and conditions and everything else. So it's just too much of a headache. But that can happen with smaller auction houses where, you can't physically see the item and they might have misidentified something that, is not an original or anything else like that. And that goes into also, the description and condition of items. Since you can't see it for yourself, you have to go off of the pictures. And if damage isn't photographed correctly or described in the description, you can get an item that's not in the condition that you thought it was in. And this also happened to me recently, and I'll show you exactly what I mean in a few minutes. So now that we've gone over the pros and cons of buying through online auctions, especially smaller auction houses, I want to go over some of the items that I purchased in the last couple months. So the first thing I wanted to show you that I purchased in the last couple months, I got all four. These are serpentine and nephrite hand-carved pendants. I got all four of these. They were in a lot, and I got them including shipping and handling for $41.75. And they're all really cool, well made. This one, it's kind of hard to see just because it's a very light color, but this one has a tiger on it. This one has like a bucking horse. Nothing on the back, but it's very well done. This is a similar one, but it has a pig. And this one's actually two-sided. It has looks like koi fish, some bamboo over here. And then on the other side, looks like it has some little dude here. I don't really know. Another fish on this side. So I got all four of these, so call it $10 each. And I know I could at least get $25 a piece for these, but right now I think I have them priced at like $50 each. So the pricing on these things ranges a lot. If you do a search, there are numerous items like this up for sale, but it's kind of, the price depends on the quality. There's a lot cheaper ones out there, but the carvings are definitely not as nice or detailed as these, and they're just not, polished up pieces. And I've seen these things list as high as like $100 and some each to, $75 each. I thought, shipping is going to cost me nothing. So, $50 or $60 is a good price point for these. And, that'll make me a nice profit off of these. So in the last item, I forgot to mention that I got those from Everything But the House, which I've done business with in the past, and they've always done a really awesome job at everything from shipping to describing items correctly and all of that. So they are definitely worthwhile checking out. They have 2 places of business, one in Columbus and one in Cincinnati. So I do frequent that site a lot. And this next item is actually the item that I've already sold. And this is also purchased from Everything But the House, are these 2 foo dog sculptures. These are hand carved out of a piece of stone. I'm not exactly sure what kind of stone this is, but the detail on these things is really great. Good coloring, like a greenish, dark color. You can see like on the back, the detailing that goes into the head and the face and the eyes. I'm gonna put one of these down, but there's even a little freestanding ball in its mouth that was obviously left in during the carving, which is kind of cool. And it's held in there by the teeth and the way this is designed. But these were really cool pieces. I did find one of these once at a thrift store, but it was carved out of alabaster, which is white. And I got it for $5. And I think I sold it for around like 200 or 300 or something. I know it was a good sell, but that one was smaller than this. And, you know, it's just a kind of, you know, white marbly look, where these actually have some color to them. So I got these for $102, and that included shipping and handling for the pair. And I listed them on my Etsy store and my Cherish store, and I listed them on Cherish for $1,200 for the pair. And that's because on there was a similar pair of foo dogs that was listed for like $1,450 or something. And somebody offered me a couple days ago $650 for the pair, and I took it because that's still a really nice profit, obviously. So I just have to ship these out to them today. So this next item here I got from a smaller auction house in Cleveland. They tend to do a lot of estate sales and estate auctions. So this is what I got, and this is supposed to have a stand, so it stands up like this. This is a metal Mexican cowboy sculpture, and it's really detailed. It's pretty cool. You know, I knew it didn't have the base. It said that in the listing, but I just planned on making a base, which shouldn't be that hard, and then I can get this listed. But I got this for $25, and this I had to actually physically pick up all the stuff that I got throughout the auction, so it didn't cost anything for shipping. And I'll definitely probably list this for at least $100 once I make a nice stand, because it is pretty large and it's detailed and well done. So I thought that was a good buy. Just take a little bit of work on my part. So the next item that I got from that same auction, and this will fall into one of the not so good purchases that I made. And the reason why it's the camera zoomed so much, because I want you to be able to see what I'm talking about. But this is a glass sculpture of a horse on a base, and it is signed on the bottom. And when I searched, they didn't identify the artist, but I found out who it was. And this sculpture sells for around $300, but in the listing, they didn't describe any damage to this piece. And these auction houses do allow you to go and preview during a certain time, but a lot of times, you know, it can be difficult to go and preview items if I think this was almost 45 minutes or something away from me. Partly my fault that I didn't go and preview the items, but at the same time, I mean, the damage to this is pretty evident. I think should have been mentioned in the description. It looks good, and you know, they took a couple pictures, but nothing was really zoomed in on the damage. And it is hard to see anyway, just because this is a clear sculpture. But this leg has been broken pretty badly and put back together. There are some chips missing from here. And then the most evident thing here is the tail has been broken off, but then glued back on. And there's even glue that is running down the back of the horse. That makes it obviously very difficult for me to sell. Plus, you know, with the weight and size of this, you know, I'd probably only sell this on buy, sell, trade, or possibly even my sister's really into horses, and I know she would like it, damage or not, so I might just give it to her. But I got this. I only paid like $40 for it, so not not the end of the world. But, you know, that just goes to show you that even if there is damage, it's not always described. And any kind of big purchases you make or are planning on making, you should probably go to the auction preview and check out the item yourself. It just really wasn't worth it to me for only $40. So the next piece here that I got was this Greek or Roman bust sculpture. And this is really nicely detailed. You can see in the face and especially like in the armor and stuff. So it's really a cool sculpture on a base here that looks marble, but I'm not even sure if it is real marble. Now this was listed as a metal bust sculpture and it looks like bronze, but when you turn it around, there's a chip on the back, which I did see in the photos, but I thought it was, since it was listed as being metal, I thought it was like a sticker or something. But this is actually some kind of composite. And I don't know how they would list this as metal when it's clearly not metal. And even the weight tells you that it's not metal. It's still a cool piece anyway. And I think I paid $49 for it. And, you know, these things, since it is so detailed and nicely done and is a little bit older, I think that, you know, I'll be able to still make some sort of a profit off of this. And it won't be like too difficult to ship or anything. Just another example. I mean, that's two things out of one auction to, you know, shows you the risk in buying from these less reputable auction houses. So this is the next piece that I got at auction, and this was purchased from Everything But the House. And it's a pretty cool abstract painting done on board. You can see it's pretty large, and it shows kind of a sky with, looks like ship masts and some nets coming down. So it's a pretty cool piece. I got this for $75 plus shipping, and shipping actually wasn't as expensive as I thought it was going to be. But this was listed just as, you know, an abstract painting, and then it just said signed by artist Stefan. You can see here, and it's dated 1967. And I did some research, and there's actually numerous artists with the last name Stefan. And I'm pretty sure after looking at the different types of art and the date ranges that this was done by Walter Arnold Stefan. That's my best guess. He did some abstract artwork, and he also, it falls within, you know, his time painting falls within 1967. So this was a good buy. His work varied in prices, but it sold a lot more than $75. Now I might have to, just due to the size, I'm not sure if I'm going to list this online or not. I might send this to a different auction house and see what they think. And if it is by Walter Arnold Stefan, then it can hopefully go for more than $75. So here's the next piece that I got, and this piece is massive, and another abstract piece. This was listed just as an abstract art piece, so they did not ID it, and I got this from that small auction house, which I got some of the other items before that had some issues, but this was a pretty good buy. I think I got this for $60, and this is actually signed Etta, and I don't think the auction house did any kind of research on the artist or anything like that, but this was done by Etta Benjamin. If you just search, you know, abstract painting by signed Etta, a bunch of different things come up. This would definitely have to be sold at auction or on buy sell trade or something, but for $60, her work I see listed anywhere from, you know, $300 to $600. And this is a pretty cool piece. You can see almost looks like a city off in the distance on the left side, and it's got some good neutral coloring, so it would fit, you know, a wide decor style or whatever coloring. So I like this piece a lot. I didn't really realize how big it was, but when I picked this up so I didn't have to have it shipped to me anyway. So definitely, I think, worth this $60 investment. So here's the last piece that I got from auction that I'm going to show you today. This is another abstract painting, but this was done by Polish artist Boshin, and there are plenty of works out there for sale, and his work actually sells for a lot of money, and I got this for $200. The only issue with this, and this is the reason I think that it sold for only $200, was, there is a little bit of damage there with the painting, and a few places it looks like, I'm not sure, maybe the white chipped off there a bit, but there is black under it, so I don't really know. But there are just a couple little holes in the canvas. And I have actually tried, I'm looking into getting this restored, because if it only costs a couple $100 to get restored and I can sell this for a couple thousand, it would definitely be worth it. But you can see it's signed up here, Boshin, in the upper left corner, and it is a pretty cool abstract piece. I'm not an art expert or whatever, but this, I like the colors in it, and I think this would fit in a lot of different style homes. So this has a lot of potential to be a good investment. I know I could at least get $200 back for it just because of the artist himself. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you haven't subscribed yet, do so now. I'm picking the winner for the glass eagle sculpture, and you can see that in a previous video that I recently put out. I'll be giving that away randomly to one of my subscribers, so hit that subscribe button now so you can take part in that. I really appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below, whether it's regarding any of the local auction houses or different experiences that I've had, or about any of the items that I have purchased. Just shoot me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks again, and good luck out there treasure hunting.